My name is Marcus Chen. I'm 32 years old, and I'm a software engineer in San Francisco, California. 2 weeks ago, my family kicked me out of my childhood home and gave everything to my younger sister. She looked me in the eye and said, "This house has no place for useless people." I walked away without a word, but what they didn't know was that I had an $8 million secret. When the truth came out, I got 50-plus missed calls, dozens of voicemails, and my sister showed up at my door begging for forgiveness. But when my sister found out the truth, she showed up at my door sobbing. What I said to her will shock you. Stay until the end to find out what happened next. And if you love stories about justice and standing up for yourself, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me what you would do in my situation. It was a Friday afternoon when I got the text from my mother. Family meeting, 6 p.m. Don't be late. I should have known something was wrong. My family rarely called meetings unless something major was happening. I drove from my apartment in San Francisco back to our family home in Palo Alto. The house I grew up in, the house my father built with his own hands before he passed away 5 years ago. When I walked through the front door, the atmosphere was cold. My mother sat at the head of the dining table, her face stern and unreadable. My sister Jennifer sat beside her with this smug expression I'd seen too many times before. My Uncle Robert, my mother's brother, stood by the window looking uncomfortable. "Sit down, Marcus," my mother said without greeting me. I sat across from Jennifer, already feeling the weight of whatever was coming. My mother didn't waste time. "We've made a decision about the house," she said. "Jennifer will be taking over full ownership." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What?" Jennifer leaned back in her chair, arms crossed, tie. Had smirk growing wider. "The house is mine now," she said. "Mom's transferring the deed." I looked at my mother, waiting for some explanation, some reason that would make this make sense. "Why?" I asked. "Dad left this house to both of us." My mother's jaw tightened. "Your father left the house to the family, and right now Jennifer needs it more than you do." "Needs it?" I repeated. "She's 28 years old with no job. I've been helping pay the property taxes on this place for 3 years. Jennifer scoffed. "Helping? You send a check once in a while, big deal." My Uncle Robert finally spoke. "Marcus, your sister is getting married. She needs a place to start her life with David." David, her fiancé who worked in sales and spent more time at the golf course than at his actual job. "So you're just giving her the house?" I asked, my voice rising despite my effort to stay calm. "A house worth $2.3 million in this market?" My mother's expression hardened. "Don't make this about money." "It's not about money," I said. "It's about fairness. Dad wanted us both to have this." Jennifer stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. "You want to talk about fairness? You've been living your cushy tech life in San Francisco while I've been here taking care of Mom." Taking care of... I stopped myself. Jennifer hadn't worked in 2 years. She lived off our mother's retirement fund and whatever I sent to help with bills. "You don't contribute anything to this family," Jennifer continued, her voice dripping with contempt. "You show up for holidays, send some money, and think that makes you special." I looked at my mother, waiting for her to say something, anything to defend me, but she just sat there silent. Jennifer walked around the table until she was standing right in front of me. "This house has no place for useless people," she said, her voice cold and final. "So why don't you leave?" The room went silent. Even my uncle looked shocked. I stood slowly, my chest tight with anger and hurt. I looked at my mother one last time. "Is this really what you want?" She didn't meet my eyes. "Jennifer needs the house, Marcus. You have your own life." I nodded slowly, feeling something inside me break. "Fine." I walked toward the door, and not one of them said a word to stop me. As I reached my car, I heard Jennifer's voice from the doorway. "Don't bother coming back for Sunday dinners. This isn't your home anymore." I drove away without looking back. What they didn't know was that I'd been hiding the biggest secret of my life, and when they found out, everything would change. I spent the weekend in my apartment staring at the walls. My phone sat on the coffee table, silent. No calls from my mother, no texts from my uncle checking if I was okay. Nothing. Jennifer had taken everything from me. The house my father built, the place where I'd buried my childhood dog in the backyard, the kitchen where my dad taught me how to make his famous spaghetti sauce. Gone. But as I sat there in the quiet, something else settled in. Not sadness, not anger, relief. Because the truth was, I'd been carrying a secret for 3 years. A secret so big that it had changed my entire life. And now that they'd cut me out, I didn't owe them anything anymore. 3 years ago, I'd been working as a senior software engineer at a mid-sized tech company. The pay was good, $180,000 a year. But I'd always been tinkering with side projects. One of those projects was an AI-powered data analytics tool that could process financial trends faster and more accurately than anything on the market. I'd built it in my spare time, working late nights and weekends. When it was ready, I'd pitched it to a few venture capital firms. Within 6 months, my startup had been acquired by a major tech corporation for $8.3 million. $8.3 million. After taxes, legal fees, and paying back my initial investors, I'd walked away with $5.2 million in liquid assets. I'd reinvested portions of it, bought real estate in Austin and Seattle, and started a diversified portfolio that had grown to just over $8 million in total net worth. But I'd never told my family. Not because I wanted to hide it, but because I knew exactly what would happen if they found out. My mother would expect me to fund Jennifer's lifestyle. Jennifer would ask for money for a wedding, a car, vacations. My uncle would suddenly have business opportunities that needed investment. So I'd kept quiet. I lived in a modest one-bedroom apartment in San Francisco, drove a used Honda, and dressed like any other tech worker. I still sent money to help with property taxes and my mother's medical bills. I showed up for holidays and pretended everything was normal, and now they'd kicked me out anyway. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. The numbers stared back at me. Total assets, $8,247,391. $119, I could buy 10 houses like the one they'd just given to Jennifer. I could retire tomorrow if I wanted to. But they'd called me useless. Monday morning, I went to work like nothing had happened. My coworkers had no idea what I'd been through over the weekend. To them, I was just Marcus, the quiet guy who wrote clean code and occasionally brought donuts to morning stand-ups. During lunch, my friend and coworker Tyler Rodriguez noticed I was off. "You good, man?" he asked, sitting down across from me in the cafeteria. I shrugged. Family stuff. Tyler had been my friend since college. He was one of the few people who knew about the acquisition, though even he didn't know the full extent of my wealth. "Want to talk about it?" he offered. I told him everything. The meeting, Jennifer's cruelty, my mother's silence, the house. Tyler sat back, stunned. "They just kicked you out?" "Yep." "And you're worth—" He lowered his voice. "You're worth $8 million, and they called you useless?" "They don't know," I said quietly. Tyler shook his head. "Marcus, you've been helping them for years, sending money, covering bills, and they do this?" "I know." "So what are you going to do?" I looked down at my sandwich. "Nothing. I'm going to live my life and let them live theirs." Tyler frowned. "You're not going to tell them?" "Why would I? So they can come crawling back asking for money? No thanks." But even as I said it, I knew it was only a matter of time before the truth came out. And when it did, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. 2 weeks passed. I didn't call my family, and they didn't call me. It was like I'd been erased from their lives entirely. I threw myself into work, picked up a consulting side project, and started planning a trip to Japan I'd been putting off for years. For the first time in a long time, I felt free. Then, on a Thursday afternoon, everything exploded. I was in a meeting when my phone started buzzing. Once, twice, 5 times, 10 times. I ignored it, but my smartwatch kept lighting up with notifications, text messages, missed calls, voicemails. When the meeting ended, I checked my phone. 23 missed calls. My mother, 7 calls, Jennifer. 11 calls, Uncle Robert, 5 calls. I had dozens of text messages, all variations of the same thing. "Mom, Marcus, call me immediately." Jennifer, "We need to talk." Uncle Robert, Please pick up, it's important. What the hell? I scrolled through my notifications and saw a flood of LinkedIn messages and connection requests. My profile had blown up. Then I saw it. TechCrunch article. Former startup founder Marcus Chen joins advisory board of rising AI unicorn, net worth estimated at $8 billion plus. My stomach dropped. The article detailed my acquisitions. 3 years ago, my real estate investments, and my new role as an advisor to a fast-growing AI company. It included quotes from the CEO praising my visionary work and my significant contributions to the tech industry. Someone had leaked the story, probably someone from the advisory board's PR team trying to generate buzz. And now, my family knew everything. I sat in my car in the parking lot, staring at my phone as the calls kept coming. Finally, I answered. It was my mother. "Marcus!" Her voice was frantic, almost panicked. "Why didn't you tell us?" "Tell you what?" I asked, my voice flat. "About the money, the sale, Marcus, there's an article about you. It says you're worth $8 million. I know. There was a pause. "You knew? And you didn't tell your own family?" I laughed bitterly. "Why would I? You kicked me out of the house 2 weeks ago, remember?" "That was different." "Different how?" "Jennifer said the house had no place for useless people. You said I didn't contribute, so I left." "Marcus, we didn't know." "That I had money? So that's what it takes for you to care? Money?" My mother's voice cracked. "That's not fair." "Fair?" I repeated. "You gave Jennifer a $2.3 million house and kicked me out. Don't talk to me about fair." I hung up. Immediately, Jennifer called. I didn't answer. She texted, "Marcus, please, we need to talk. I'm sorry, I didn't mean what I said." I turned off my phone. The next morning, I turned my phone back on. 47 missed calls. I scrolled through the voicemails. My mother crying, apologizing, saying she made a mistake. My uncle trying to smooth things over, suggesting we talk this through as a family. And Jennifer. Her first voicemail was apologetic. "Marcus, I'm so sorry. I was awful to you. Please call me back." By the 5th voicemail, her tone had shifted. "Marcus, I know you're mad, but you're being childish. We're family. You can't just ignore us." By the 10th, she was angry. "Fine, be a selfish asshole, but don't think you can just walk away from this family." I deleted them all. Tyler texted me, "Dude, you're famous. Articles blowing up on Twitter." I didn't care about the article. I cared about the fact that my family's love had been conditional all along. That evening, as I was making dinner, my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole. Jennifer. She was standing on my doorstep, her arms crossed, looking both defiant and desperate. I opened the door. "What do you want?" I asked. "We need to talk," she said, pushing past me into my apartment. And what she said next would test everything I thought I knew about forgiveness. Jennifer stood in my living room, looking around like she was appraising the place. Her eyes landed on my modest furniture, my small TV, my secondhand couch. "This is where you live?" she asked, her voice incredulous. "You're worth $8 million and you live like this?" "I like my life," I said flatly. "What do you want, Jennifer?" She turned to face me. "I want to apologize." "Okay, you apologized. You can leave now." "Marcus, please." Her voice cracked, and for a moment, I saw something that looked like genuine regret. "I was horrible to you. I know that. I was jealous and cruel, and I took it out on you." "Why were you jealous?" I asked. "You got everything. The house, Mom's attention, the wedding fund. What did you possibly have to be jealous about?" She looked down. "Because you didn't need any of it. You built your life on your own. You never asked for help. You never needed anyone, and I—" Her voice broke. "I couldn't even hold down a job." I stared at her, unsure if this was real or just another manipulation. "I know what I said was unforgivable," she continued, "calling you useless, kicking you out. But Marcus, I didn't know. None of us knew what you'd accomplished." "And if I hadn't accomplished anything?" I asked. "If I was just a regular software engineer making decent money, would I? Do you still be here apologizing?" She didn't answer. That's what I thought, I said. Jennifer's face hardened. Fine. You want the truth? David left me. I blinked. What? My fiancé. He called off the wedding, said he couldn't marry someone from a dysfunctional family after he saw the article and realized what we'd done to you. Part of me felt vindicated. Another part felt a twinge of sympathy. I'm sorry, I said, and I meant it. The house needs major repairs, she continued. The foundation has cracks, the roof is leaking, the property taxes are due next month and I can't afford them. Mom's retirement fund is almost gone. Uncle Robert lost his job. And there it was. You need money, I said. Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. I need help, Marcus. We all do. And you're the only one who can... Stop, I interrupted. Just stop. I walked to my kitchen and poured myself a glass of water, my hands shaking with anger. You kicked me out, I said quietly. You looked me in the eye and told me I was useless. You said the house had no place for me, and now you want my help? I was wrong. You were cruel, I corrected. There's a difference. Jennifer wiped her eyes. So what? You're just going to abandon us? Let Mom lose the house? Let everything fall apart? I turned to face her. I've been helping for years, paying property taxes, covering medical bills, sending money for groceries, and not once did any of you say thank you. Not once did you appreciate it. We didn't know how much. It doesn't matter how much, I shouted, my voice finally breaking. I gave what I could, and you treated me like I was nothing. Jennifer sank onto my couch, crying. What do you want me to say? That I'm a terrible person? Fine, I am. I'm selfish and entitled, and I took you for granted. Is that what you want to hear? I want you to leave, I said. She looked up, her face red and tear-stained. Please, Marcus, I'm begging you, just help us one more time. I promise things will be different. No. Mom could lose everything. Mom chose to give you the house, I said. She chose to side with you when you kicked me out. Those are her choices, not my problem. Jennifer stood up, her sadness turning back to anger. You're really going to do this? You're going to watch your own family suffer when you have millions just sitting in a bank? My money is my business, I said, and you made it very clear I'm not part of this family anymore. She stared at me, fury and desperation mixing in her eyes. You're going to regret this. No, I said quietly. I don't think I will. I walked to the door and opened it. Get out. Jennifer grabbed her purse and stormed toward the exit. At the doorway, she turned back one last time. You've changed, she said bitterly. Money changed you. I shook my head. No, Jennifer. Money just showed me who you really were. She left, slamming the door behind her, and that's when my phone started ringing again. But this time, I was ready. The calls didn't stop. Over the next 3 days, I received over 60 calls and hundreds of text messages. My mother begged. My uncle tried to negotiate. Jennifer oscillated between apologizing and threatening. Then I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Mr. Chen, this is Patricia Morrison from Morrison Associates. I'm calling on behalf of your mother and sister. A lawyer. They'd hired a lawyer. What do you want? I asked. Your family would like to discuss a potential settlement regarding your father's estate. They believe there were errors in the original distribution of assets. I laughed out loud. My father's estate was settled 5 years ago. Everything was distributed according to his will. Nevertheless, my clients believe they may have a case. Tell your clients that if they pursue legal action, I'll counter-sue for harassment, I said calmly. I've documented every text, every voicemail, every threat. I've also documented the 3 years of financial support Artia provided, which was never repaid or acknowledged. There was silence on the line. Furthermore, I continued, if they continue to contact me, I'll file for a restraining order. Are we clear? Mr. Chen, I think if we could just... Are we clear? I repeated. Yes, she said quietly. We're clear. I hung up. 2 days later, my Uncle Robert showed up at my apartment. Unlike Jennifer, he called first. Marcus, can we talk? Just you and me. No lawyers, no drama. I agreed to meet him at a coffee shop near my office. When I arrived, he was already there, looking older than I remembered. The stress had aged him. "Thanks for meeting me," he said as I sat down. "What do you want, Uncle Robert?" He sighed heavily. "I want to apologize for not speaking up at that meeting, for letting your mother and Jennifer treat you the way they did." I said nothing, waiting. "Your mother is stubborn," he continued. "She's always favored Jennifer. I think it's because Jennifer reminds her of herself when she was young, impulsive, emotional, needy. And you remind her of your father, independent, capable, quiet." "That's not an excuse," I said. "I know, I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to explain." He ran a hand through his graying hair. "When that article came out, your mother was devastated, not because of the money, because she realized she'd lost you." "She didn't lose me," I said. "She gave me away." Robert nodded slowly. "You're right. She did. And Jennifer is a mess. David leaving her was a wake-up call. She's been coasting on charm and good looks her whole life. Now she's 28 with no skills, no job, and a house she can't maintain. Again, not my problem." "I'm not asking you to help them," Robert said. "I'm asking you to hear them out. One conversation. If you still want nothing to do with them after that, I'll support your decision." I studied my uncle's face. He looked genuine. Tired, but genuine. "Why should I?" I asked. "Because they're family," he said. "And I know they hurt you. I know they don't deserve your forgiveness. But I also know that years from now you might regret not giving them one last chance." I thought about it. About my father, who would have wanted me to be the bigger person. About the childhood memories in that house. About the fact that despite everything, they were still my blood. "One conversation," I said finally. "But it's on my terms, in a neutral location, and if they ask for money, I walk." Robert smiled sadly. "Thank you, Marcus." We met at a restaurant the following Sunday. My mother, Jennifer, Uncle Robert, and me. My mother had aged too. Her hair was grayer, her eyes tired. Jennifer looked smaller somehow, less confident. "Thank you for coming," my mother said quietly. I nodded but said nothing. "We were wrong," she continued. "I was wrong. I let my favoritism blind me. I took your contributions for granted, and her voice broke. "I let my daughter call you useless when you've been anything but." Jennifer spoke next. "I was jealous. I was insecure. And I took it out on you because it was easier than facing my own failures. I'm sorry, Marcus. Truly." I listened to them apologize. I heard their regrets, their explanations, their promises to do better. And when they were done, I spoke. "I forgive you," I said. "But forgiveness doesn't mean things go back to how they were. You hurt me deeply, and I need time and space to heal from that." My mother nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Whatever you need." "I'm not giving anyone money," I continued. "The house is Jennifer's responsibility now. The bills, the repairs, all of it. If she can't handle it, she can sell it." Jennifer FL, inched but nodded. "But," I added, "if Mom needs medical care or something truly essential, I'll help. Not out of obligation, but because I choose to." "Thank you," my mother whispered. We finished our meal in relative peace. There was no grand reconciliation, no tearful group hug, just a quiet understanding that we were all flawed people trying to do better. As I drove home that evening, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. My phone was silent. My conscience was clear, and my life was mine again. Looking back, being kicked out of my family home was one of the hardest things I've ever experienced, but it taught me something invaluable about boundaries and self-worth. I always thought family meant sacrificing everything, even your own dignity. But the truth is, real love doesn't require you to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. My $8 million secret wasn't about the money. It was about realizing that my value as a person isn't determined by what I can provide to others. It's inherent. I learned to set boundaries, to say no, to walk away from people who only valued me when I had something they wanted. Did I forgive my family? Yes. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean letting them back into my life unconditionally. It means releasing the anger so it doesn't poison my future. Jennifer sold the house 6 months later. She couldn't afford the upkeep. My mother moved into a modest condo, and I help with her medical bills when needed. We talk once a month. It's cordial but distant. And me? I'm living my life on my terms. I took that trip to Japan. I'm investing in causes I care about. I'm building something meaningful with my wealth. So let me ask you, if your family only valued you for what you could give them, would you walk away? Or would you stay and keep sacrificing? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if this story resonates with you, hit that subscribe button. Because knowing your worth is never easy, but it's always necessary.